Today, ladies and gentlemen, friends, this is supposed to be a new video format, which we're going to call, in this specific scenario, R2B, or Road to Billion. It comes from the fact that we were able, and I was part of campaigns that altogether earned clients over 1 billion crowns, so a billion in English. I hope I'm saying that right. You'll surely correct me. And it's meant to be a kind of macro view format to help you understand what you probably need to do within your business to be able to achieve that billion, for instance, in your business. It's not that I'm a billionaire as if we had made $1 billion for our company here. That would, of course, probably be wonderful. We're not there yet, but maybe we're heading there. But that's still quite a ways off. The point is that this video, these videos, this series will be about how we were able to earn our clients in total over 1 billion crowns through online marketing and online campaigns. So if online marketing and online campaigns are something that, let's say, you enjoy, that you find fulfilling, or you do online marketing in your business, then you should definitely watch this series. It should come out once a week, or at least that's the plan for now. We'll see how it's received and what specifically you'll be interested in. In any case, today's topic is a typical question I've seen from many clients who were not able to earn 1 billion crowns or were not able to get close to any large sums through campaigns in online marketing. And that is that once you pay for an ad, for example, to Facebook or Instagram or Google or someone like that, then it actually starts to limit your organic reach, your organic search, your organic posts on Facebook and Instagram. Because it knows that you'll pay for it if need be. So why would it give you higher organic reach for your posts when it knows you're going to pay for it anyway? Ladies and gentlemen, of course, no one except for the people who work in these companies, so none of us knows what it's actually like. None of us is 1000% able to say, this is how it is and this is how it isn't. None of us has probably seen the algorithm in the background that does this. That's just how it is. On the other hand, if you take a closer look at how these networks actually function, and if you examine in detail how these platforms operate and function, yes, it is true that they primarily make most of their money from advertising, which is their main source of revenue. But for them to be able to display the ad, or rather for them to be able to show the ad, and for you to be able to pay for it and show it to someone, for this whole thing to work, they have to have someone to show it to. It's simple. This means that if Instagram and Facebook weren't used by many people, or if even very few people use them, then at that moment, it has no one to show the ad to. And at that point, advertisers logically won't pay for it because the numbers, the results simply won't be there for the campaigns. So this is a really important thing for you to understand. And there's one more piece of information connected to this, and we'll get to that in a moment. In any case, the first thing that's absolutely necessary to understand is this. Facebook doesn't limit you in the sense that you pay for an ad for the first time and next to it you have organic posts that suddenly aren't being shown. If your organic posts aren't being shown, if they just don't have those big views. If it's just not there, then it's most likely not because, or how should I put it, it's some algorithmic error, that it's some error in the system. Most likely, the problem is your content. Most likely, in this case, it's probably just a mistake. How to put it? Your content is simply not good enough. I know it sometimes hurts to admit it, I get that. It hurts me too when I see that our videos or our clients' videos that we've created for them don't have good reach or don't get a lot of views. But it's not because the algorithm said, hey, I won't show this company and not this one either. No. It just sees that the users who are looking at the posts to whom it showed them don't interact with them as well as with the posts of some other companies. It's that simple. Or influencers, creators, it doesn't matter, just someone. And that's crucial to understand, because you'll stop when you understand this and start working with it. You'll understand that Facebook and Instagram, not even Google or YouTube, they're not actually trying to, like, I don't know, limit you or prevent you from doing something, or, you know, not give you the space to express your freedom of speech and so on. Oh my God, they don't want that. But you'll start doing the important and impactful thing that companies and individuals who are making money, let's say, or are on track to make that billion do. or at least they have experience with it and are successful and are doing well, they realize this one key thing. And ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves, this might hurt a little. And before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe to this channel, and also hit the bell so you don't miss similar mental setup, similar mindset videos about how to make 1 billion crowns through online marketing, online advertising, or maybe even 500 million. It depends on what your goal is. So you don't miss these things, because if we're going to do this here once a week, every week, then I think that in 52 weeks, your mindset can be in a completely different place, and mindset precedes everything else. If you have the right mindset, and I don't just mean your personal one, but also your business one, if you have it set up correctly, then at that moment, you have a chance to succeed. If you don't have it set up correctly, if you keep looking for mistakes where there are none, if you keep getting bogged down in your hypotheses and things like that, then unfortunately no one can help you. Not me, not even the best expert, and so on. You surely know that. Every good athlete needs to have their head in the right place, in this case the mindset, let's say, so they can then deliver the right performance. And in business, in your personal life, it's not about anything else at all. It's the same thing. So I just want to say, definitely give a like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because in 52 weeks, meaning by next Christmas or the end of next year, your head can be in a completely different place. Your business can be in a completely different place, because if you devour these tips that I've seen in practice, it's not like I'm making up some hypothetical scenarios here. No, these are all things I've seen with entrepreneurs who are successful, whose businesses are growing, whose projects are growing, and so on. I also see it from when I started making such a mindset change myself. We started doing much better in the past than even now in the present, because of course I am constantly working on myself. So in a way, these videos are also a bit selfish. They are a bit about me reminding myself of these things, these characteristics, and so that I personally know and don't make these mindset mistakes, which of course any of us can make, because we have various biases. We meet different people, different opinions, we're raised differently, and so on. And then of course that can lead to some misleading, how should I put it, hypotheses about how we think things are when they're not. So ladies and gentlemen, now I'm getting to it. Let me recap. The first thing is, the network, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many other successful entrepreneurs, has no reason to limit your organic reach. Because if they do that and limit your organic reach, they will only achieve that by limiting your organic reach. Then they will probably limit it for some other users as well. And if they limit it for them, what will they stop doing? They'll stop publishing, because of course they'll stop liking it. And when they stop liking it, they stop publishing. So when more other entrepreneurs do it sooner or later, a simple thing will happen. I'm parking, okay? Okay, I'm parking, ticket, great. Let's go. So, of course, sooner or later, one thing or another will happen. And that is that the users will stop. Wow, there are a lot of people here, considering it's already after Christmas. Jesus. Well, it doesn't matter. The users will stop posting, because of course it won't make sense to them, logically. That's what entrepreneurs do, right? And creators, if you just post on Instagram 10 posts, and out of those 10 posts, they'll all just have 10 views. And then you go to another platform, post 10 times, and each one will have 100 views on average. Good heavens, that's going to be a completely different result, right? Okay, and now I'm getting to the next point. This is point number 1. So you have to understand this. If you don't get it, well, that's your decision, your problem. If you get it, that's great. But the next thing is, and I didn't get to it because I started parking here, and that is, if you want to have your life a bit more under control, or at least you want to think you have it under control, which of course for 99% of things, very few of us have them under control, and it's almost impossible. So in that moment, if you find yourself in a situation like that, it's of course much better to know you have certain things under control than not having them under control. And that's a very important idea. Usually unsuccessful people, the unsuccessful entrepreneurs I've met, and I'm not judging them from the outside, but I can see their business isn't working. It's not growing. They're all over the place about it. They're like, this isn't it, and so on. They usually look for blame. They look for the problem where it doesn't actually exist. And what I mean by that is that they often look for snags, and they basically rob themselves of the ability. How should I put it? They kind of rob themselves of the ability to do something about it. What I mean is, if you think that Facebook or Instagram and their algorithm are to blame for your success or failure, then that's bad. Because you're entrusting your success or failure. And I mean the algorithms. Okay, I don't mean whether you're running good Facebook campaigns. Of course, if you're running good Facebook campaigns, then in that moment, you, of course, yeah, it's great. Use those platforms. It works. It's awesome. But if, and this doesn't just apply to algorithms, but it's a good parallel, okay? Try to graft it onto your business. Try to understand it. If you genuinely believe that something like that, for example, an algorithm, a particular system, or perhaps even someone else has, or that someone else's achievements, their success or their progress has a direct or indirect impact on your own failure or lack of success, then that is actually the very first step to not having that success yourself. That's because at that point you start looking for blame, searching for a culprit, and trying to find the problem somewhere else outside of yourself rather than focusing on what you can control or improve. And if a person at any point in their life looks for blame or a culprit somewhere else, even though it might be true in some scenarios, you know, maybe it wasn't your fault that someone hit you at an intersection. You were just standing there and suddenly a car just drove into you, for example, right? So, sure, but that takes away your chance and it takes away your power to do something about it. Now, let me explain. If you know that you can do something about a given situation, have a better attitude towards it. Exactly. That doesn't mean that you'll, you know, go to a different intersection or that you'll be standing as the third car instead of the fifth, you know, and then no one will hit you there. It doesn't necessarily mean that. But it also means that when it happens, I can react to it in some way. Either I can look for blame somewhere else and, oh, this sucks, this is bad, oh my God, it's not my fault, it's his problem, he has to solve it, and so on. Or you can take the stance that you will solve it, that you want to solve it yourself. Then you've fulfilled the first prerequisite to understanding that in order to achieve anything, you don't have the vast majority of things under your control. But some things you do have under control, and you should try to keep them under control, or rather try to influence them with your actions, your thinking, your mindset, how you do it. And at the same time, even when the things you don't have control over happen, try to react to them correctly so that you can, in a way, get them back under your control. That's a huge fundamental difference that I see in those entrepreneurs, e-shop owners, owners of other companies, lead gen companies. It doesn't matter if it's single-digit employees, hundreds, tens, thousands of employees. We've worked with all of them. I've worked with them. And I see that ability that if someone has that mindset, maybe even in the team, the individual, the manager, the owner of the company, and has the mindset that, someone else is to blame for this, so we'd rather sue him, or we'd rather do this, and so on, then you're diverting attention from your business. And when you divert attention from your business, from where your focus is, then it won't make sense anymore. It's happened to me several times that, for example, we had a client who was paying our invoices normally, things were being delivered, and then suddenly out of nowhere, maybe, I don't know, maybe he got into some financial crisis, some bad financial situation or whatever just happened, right? And just suddenly out of nowhere, he didn't want to pay the invoice and maybe stopped responding. And now I had two options to choose from. Either I start dealing with it and get bogged down in it, and my energy, my focus, everything I have, my time and so on, will go into solving it. I'll call him, I'll text him, I'll email him, I'll go to his office, then I'll argue with him there, then we'll deal with it with a lawyer or an attorney and so on and so forth. Yeah, we're talking about tens, of thousands of crowns for these kinds of jobs, small jobs, in the context of the whole world. Yeah, like, I don't know, he paid 30,000 a month or something like that. 40,000, 50, sometimes 20 and so on. And now I'm going to deal with it. Or I'll do, and now I know it won't be resolved right away, right? Because things like that aren't resolved quickly. It doesn't take like a few minutes to resolve or a few hours. It just takes longer. Or I'll choose the second option, and that is that I'll basically just stop dealing with it. I'll just try a few messages, a few emails, a few somethings. If the person just doesn't want to pay, hey, maybe something bad is happening in their family. Maybe something just went wrong. Like, I try to be understanding about it, that sometimes that's just how it is, that it just doesn't work out. Suddenly they don't like something, they don't think so, they don't respond, the company has problems, Jesus Christ. Yeah, and I tell myself, hey, either I'm going to deal with it here and maybe I'll even get the money from him sooner or later, but in the meantime, in another direction, I'll actually miss out on a huge number of opportunities that I didn't have the time to take, the energy to take, the desire to take, because that problem you're dealing with, it actually starts to, grind you down. It takes away your juice, it takes away your energy. You just start to see things more negatively. And I don't want to see the world like that. I don't want to look at it like that. I'd rather live in a world where I see the glass as half full. Yeah, and that's my approach. Maybe you see it differently, that's fine. The important thing is that I have the second option, and that is to focus on what I can influence, what I can change. I probably can't change this anymore. It's already happened. That's how the client is. Yeah, whatever. That's just how it is. Okay, fine. So what? I tried a few emails. He doesn't want to pay. What am I going to do? Drive over to him and what am I going to do with him? What? Explain it to him and he'll suddenly say, oh, okay, Tomasz, I'll send it to you then. Probably not, right? That means either a lawyer, but then that's another solution. And when it's such small amounts, some tens of thousands, it usually doesn't even make much sense in that context, to deal with such things. All the things around it, the energy, time, money for all the expenses and so on, it will just cost a lot of money, even if he pays for it later, but you'll spend a lot of time on it. And then it will only be a reimbursement of what was supposed to be reimbursed, but nothing else, nothing new. Or you can go the other way, which I choose in the vast majority of cases. And it also took me a while to understand. It's not natural for me either. And that is that I actually take the path of what I'm able to influence. I'll try something here, send something. If nothing happens, I move on. I just look for other clients. I do the best possible work for our existing clients. I work on developing the team so that the team is truly the best in the Czech Republic, so that we truly deliver the best possible service to our clients, so that we are here for them. And by doing so, we can attract another interesting client who might fill the spot of this client who just out of nowhere, I don't know, something happened and he just doesn't want to respond, can't respond, something happened, went wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, two things, a recap. Platforms don't want to limit you because if they wanted to, they could have done it long ago and in other ways. Platforms want users to spend as much time as possible on the network, which means they need to have good content there. If your content isn't good, users won't spend time there, so the platforms won't push you further in the organic reach, and therefore you have low reach. You tell yourselves that Facebook is to blame. Yes, in a way Facebook is to blame, but it's the people who watch the videos or look at the posts and don't give you the feedback that they like, something like that, that it fulfills them and so on. So that's the first thing. Improve your content, and then you won't have to deal with having a low organic reach, right? That's the first key thing. When you pay for an ad, really don't worry that Facebook would limit your content. It's already happened to us specifically. We have a paid ad, we pay for advertising. Now, besides that, we've done it so that we publish posts, and those posts still get thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, even though we were paying for ads. Yeah, it's nonsense what you hear, so watch out for that. The third thing is, do the things you have control over, and most importantly, don't try to get into the mode where you are the victim. Once you're in victim mode, meaning you are the victim, you usually act like it's not my fault, it's his fault, he's doing that over there and that's not mine, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And at that moment, you're not in a mode where you have things like where you're trying to have things under control, where you're trying to do things, you're trying to hold the reins of the activities you're doing. And when you stop doing the activities that lead you to your goal, getting new clients, delivering the best possible service to the client, setting up the best possible campaigns, educating yourself to get it right, testing all these things that are connected to it, team building, then what happens is that you won't have things under control as much because your focus, your energy goes there into victim mode. That means I'm a victim, oh Jesus Christ, and so on. Now you're spinning in it and yeah, all sorts of things badly. So definitely be in non-victim mode. That is in a mode where you hold the reins of things firmly. You try to navigate them where you need to. You give it your full focus, full energy, full time, and then good things will happen. In America, they call it good things will happen. Of course, it won't happen overnight from 1 hour to the next, from 1 minute to the next. But if you really give it that energy over a longer time horizon, time-wise, or it's important to mention, over a longer period of time, then believe me, it will turn around. Believe that it will change. Whether it's my example, our team's example, the example of many clients who simply didn't have a good year, a good month, a good week, a good period for various reasons, but they solved the problem, found what they can improve in the future and so on, and full focus on what we can do better, full focus on what we can improve, full focus on what we can at least have some control over and so on. And things started to change. Again, I'll mention not in a minute, not in a second, not in an hour, not in a week. It probably took weeks, months, sometimes even quarters, sometimes even years, but the whole thing started to change. It started to shift. So that's today's piece of wisdom, R2B or R2B, the road to billion that I have for you. I'll be very happy if you give these videos a like so that these videos can reach more people, because I believe that if we shift this mindset, all of us here in our small Czech Republic and Slovak Republic will live better. There will be a better business environment here. People will understand this better. And even entrepreneurs among themselves will have better suppliers, better customers, quality of services, and so on. Everything will move forward. And I believe that this is the way for all of us to really be well off here, so that your children, our children, can be well off here, so that something is left behind us, so that there is something here. And at the same time, I believe that entrepreneurs, I know it's been said several times on the Czech internet, but that entrepreneurs and people who create, who make something, who do something, are the only people who really change something at the end of the day, who really move something forward. They give people jobs, they guide those people in the right direction. Those people then do some activities, produce some products, services. The whole economy works on that. People are happy with those services, with those products. The finances come back. The whole thing works like a nice spiral, or it's not really a spiral. It's a kind of circle that builds on itself. If something stops working there, then the whole thing stops working. The economy goes down. Everything slows down. Political things get connected to it. All of you who know this, then what happens is that certain parties, which in my opinion don't have it set up quite right, I understand there is no right and wrong, they start to get into power. And because of that, this whole thing starts and gradually it begins. It has impacts. It has impacts. I know that maybe I didn't know this before or you haven't heard it from me yet, but these things just happen. And please, 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 I'll be very happy if you really give these videos a like so that this mindset gets out there a little more. I see that when I stick my head out of my business bubble from the people I talk to regularly and so on, I see that in a large part of the Republic, in a large number of localities, social groups and so on, they don't understand at all what I'm talking about. And I think that's one of the reasons why, for example, those groups are not doing so well. Then they have a bad view of the world. Then they make the decisions that they make. And those lead back to that spiral, in this case, to the spiral of bad decisions, to the spiral of things just not working out, to the spiral where then even the political situation, the economic situation turns somewhere else and so on and so on. It's a kind of interconnected, unfortunately, in this case, negative spiral. So I'll be very happy if you give these videos a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for this channel. I know it's more of a chatty format. On the other hand, this is on my way to the gym. This is on my way to work out. So instead of listening to the engine here, instead of listening to some music or something like that, I decided that I would like to pass on some of this mindset to you. Maybe it will help one person who's watching this video and it will help them change their mindset, help them take some steps differently and so on, and help you improve your business. Step by step, little by little. It's never a big change that makes the difference, but it's the small daily steps that you have to take so that the big one, the big picture, the big thing, the company itself or the project then moves forward, or even your life. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all from me. I'm going to drink a pre-workout. I'm going to work out. We have a new gym here at Cernovsky, so I drove here. I'm gonna work out. I'm going to try it again. I quite like it here. It's awesome. You enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. You enjoy your beautiful evening and have a great time. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video in a similar format. Take care. Bye.